It's Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So my banter today is that I'll be, Lima and I will be going off to the trade fair for BC's, at BC's stall. So she has a stall there. It's hall 1 booth 0112. And we'll be there dancing, singing, and selling markets with her. So come on, come on.
Fantastic.
Yes.
How are you doing, Niman?
I'm fine. So that was exactly my banter. I'm wearing House of BC, and if you want quality
Same here.
wears like this, come and see us. We are the one sales girls
Same.
today for BC
Yes.
at the trade fair. So right after the show, we're going directly there to do sales work for her.
That's good.
And if
So
you
it's
love
at
to see
TBS.
our face, take pictures with us, and spend time with us. Be at BC's booth today.
Hall 1 booth 1
Ew.
012.
We've heard you.
Booth 12 or
We've
one
heard you
booth
this
12.
time. How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very, very good. Really grateful to God for life. So this morning, my kids were negotiating, having vouchers for their school, and they said they made a budget. So I told them, what is a budget? That you didn't make a budget. You need to break down the number of weeks left in school term, how much you want to spend per day. And they said, your 50 naira voucher doesn't buy anything anymore. Nobody brings 50 naira voucher to school, mommy. The minimum voucher people use to buy things now is 100 naira per voucher expenditure. So he now broke it down, and I just felt like, okay, that is inflation.
Yeah.
What you could buy with, because right now the minimum snack is about 70 to 100 naira. What we usually cover with 50 naira. But aside from the reality of how this is affecting many individuals, I think that many Nigerians are seriously suffering under poverty. I get so many messages of people hungry. And I know those ones have smartphones. The worst case are those that don't even have a smartphone or way to convey how tough life is. And this is political season. Whatever we want to spend on campaign, let us also do a bit of charity in between, because many people don't have that opportunity.
You know, I sell rice, and I sometimes give out, for every batch of rice, 2 bags will go for free. I just took delivery of rice this morning. I don't plan to give out because I had to put extra money into my profit and cost of sales last batch. I'm not looking at, there's no room to give out this period. And there are people who benefit from that every year, every batch, and they wait for it.
I know. So it's crazy out there. I mean, I was telling my friend the other day, because I used to be so good in budgeting. Like, you can't get me to spend outside my budget unless it's extremely urgent. So I was very good at knowing how much I spend monthly. When I was doing my numbers for September, I was like, I just froze. Like, what? This amount of money, we eat this now. I mean, we bought 40,000 naira worth of ram meat. I do cow meat, but my friend was saying ram is better, trying to get a bit healthier. And I was like, so we got ram meat, 40,000 naira. Within 2 weeks, this thing was done.
Laugh. Finish.
2 weeks, I was shocked.
It does not have body.
And I was thinking, what's going on? And then we're buying chicken. And I think to yourself, it's crazy how much food is. So in one month, what I'm spending is it's off the charts.
Not people who buy in stock. They're not buying one per one. You send your child something you usually would not do. You have to go every day and buy a shop.
I bought a bag of apples and it finished. Like, kids now,
Is the when you go to buy the apple, you're like, one is 500 naira.
Yes.
Like, really? I bought avocado, 1,000 naira.
What?
One.
I don't buy those nice one apple anymore. I buy the ones in the bags because they're smaller, because they're kids. So they're smaller, it's more economical for me. But even with that one, as it's entering like this, each child, there are already 4 children. I'm already counted one round. Tomorrow morning, they're taking to school, 8 has gone. Yeah, you're thinking, what's the point with that bags?
I don't even buy apples anymore.
Better plant a tree in your house. Plant a mango tree.
We planted a weed, we planted a phone now. Yes, the guy at the back just, but unfortunately, the gardener is asking me for money to help me to bring the
weed.
To weed it out, not the weed, to harvest.
No, the children will learn. No. You and the children will do it.
See where to pluck it from. They leave their weeds, they grow their own.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with the punch. FG plans supplementary budget over rising inflation and depreciation. Picture here, Nigerian-born Azubuike becomes U.S. Army general. UK remands 28-year-old Nigerian for stabbing mother to death. Lagos untouchable Agberos enjoy government backing, says driver. Actually, driver's president. ASU summons neck meeting over half salary. Afenifere senior chiefs to settle Fashion and Adebanjo Rao. Emirates, more airlines may suspend Nigeria operations. Wike revokes Atiku campaign chairman slots. And Tinubu amends timetable just to host first rally. All right, which story? Who has a weakest story?
No, it's the news that, shook all the table. So, a Nigerian-born woman was actually born in the United Kingdom,
so why
in London. I don't know why the headline is like that, but we just like to claim our own. So,
And she's Nigerian now.
yeah, she's of Nigerian descent.
Yes.
Okay, her name is Amanda Azubuike from. She was promoted from a lieutenant colonel position to a brigadier general in the military in the US, and this, of course, has caused Nigerians everywhere to talk about how we're proud of what she has done and all of that. I'm super excited that we have our names in great places around the world. It's something to bring pride, but I also hope it also inspires that's confidence in her at home here for us to to support homegrown as well, for people to go places even within this country. But she's female and she's of African descent, she's of Nigerian descent. So many of things that should inspire greatness in people around.
It's not a hot topic, but I'm really considering when you're of Nigerian, how Nigerian are you if you're born in the UK, raised in the US, work with the US, But it's good. By blood, shall we
Nigerian
accept
descent.
it?
How old?
No, that's what I'm saying. How Nigerian are you if all that you are is of Nigerian descent? You were born.
How American are you if you're also of American, of British, of UK, of European descent? Because the forefathers who came, it's the same thing. They're all.
We need to just know.
Everybody's an immigrant in America.
Anyway, so we have this shocking story on the other side of being Nigerian, born and living abroad. So this Nigerian man, a 28-year-old Nicholas Aina, he's been arraigned for stabbing his mother to death, a 64-year-old mom. She said on the report is that on this particular day, she heard screams from her daughter's room. And she goes and she finds her 28-year-old son repeatedly stabbing his 33-year-old sister. And when he saw her, he lunged at her with the knife and ran away. She died immediately, but the sister was taken to hospital and was being treated for stab wounds. So he's been arraigned, and the neighbors, everybody's saying that it's really shocking. They heard all the commotion. I wish we could find out, more details. What led to this? What state of mind? Is this drug-related? Things like that. But
so, Afenifere, let me take the story. The leaders of the Apex Yoruba Social Cultural Group, Afenifere, are putting together a 4-man committee comprising of the former secretary to the government of the Federation, that's Chief Olufalaye. Also, the Senator Femi Okurumu, that's the ex-Minister of Communications, Chief Cornelius Adebayo, and the Afenifere Secretary General Bashorun Seyinde Arogbofa. They're all coming together, and they are coming to have a meeting with the leader, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, and also Pa Fashoranti, concerning the rift that happened between both leaders. Although Pa Fashoranti did say that he never said that Adebanjo was not the leader, that he is the leader, he's the acting leader of the Afenifere. But they're having a meeting, according to the National Organizing Secretary, that's Kole Omololu, confirmed the meeting. However, the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, that's Senator Koforola Bokno-Akerele, said that she's not aware of any meeting coming up in Akure, but they're hoping that when the leaders do come together, they can hopefully settle the rift between both leaders.
So once again, Emirates has suspended its flights from Nigeria, and the reason for that is purely economical, because they've been having issues with getting CBN to release their funds. They have money stuck here, and they said that they have given CBN options to get their monies out, and that CBN has blocked access for them to get their funds. And even though CBN has made promissory notes of how much they would be releasing, there is no timeline and there's no long-term solution, which means that even if they release this current backlog, the future flights being booked from Nigeria on Emirates, there's no plan on how they'll be paying back the money. The Association of the representative of the Association of Foreign Airlines in Nigeria, Kingsley Nwokoma, said that Emirates is just the first. Several others are going to also back out because they have so much money in stock. Said many countries are struggling with paying repatriating funds, but Nigeria ranks highest. They should check the IATA figures, and no airline wants to run at a loss where flights are being booked from a country and they cannot take their profits from that country out of the country.
Is it because there's no dollar? And it's because Nigerians are hiding their dollars in their houses? Because they just found $610,000 in somebody's house. And somebody was saying that they found from the CIA or somebody's office.
Oh, yes.
$42 million or $48 million. I mean, so are we holding dollars somewhere and then we don't have money, dollars?
Well, we have a dollar trade deficit. Official dollar is not coming in and the one around is not circulating.
Exactly.
So,
Also, because it's the best way to save value. Naira is no longer, we're not exchanging Naira internationally. Then we exchange dollar, but the only thing, mineral resource that we exchange doesn't even bring in the currency.
Okay, let's move on quickly now to Daily Sun. 2023 polls, INEC puts Rex on watch list. Kanu asks Supreme Court to quash stay of execution order. 2023, Okowa explains why Tinubu Obi can't rescue Nigeria, insists on article. I have failed as Minister of Education, says Adamu. I'd love to read that story. With me as president, you get what is due to you, says Tinubu to Kogi people. Making Obi president, not a tea party, says Adebanjo. PDP crisis, I have moved on, article insists, you won't resign. Okay, which story are we starting with? Adamu, yes, so Minister
of
take all the questions, all the stories I would have loved to take. Go ahead.
You know that all these kind of things used to suit me. So the Minister for Education, Malam Adamu, was speaking at the 66th National Council on Education in Abuja. And he says that most of the policies that, they had for school, to bring kids back to school, were frustrated by state government's policies, putting them back home. And that, he as minister was reminded that he's the longest serving minister on this administration, that he spent 8 years as minister for education. I said that until it was mentioned to him, he did not even think about it, that he was the longest or shortest. He never bothered about it. But as minister, he thinks that most of the myriads of issues they failed to achieve. And that statement, say, I failed to achieve all the expectations that were, people had of me. And that's one statement is what everybody has been quoting. But he was referring to the out-of-school kids situation. And then, of course, you expect, ASU people to go on and on. But he said something that I even think that, he's continuing to fail to see things properly or redefine things. He says that he believes strongly that sex education should be taken out of the school curriculum. It is counterproductive. It is not achieving anything. And so he's insisting on that particular move. Even that in itself shows that will bring people to attack him. Because personally, I don't even agree with that. I think the most basic of it should be allowed, but that is his view.
Interesting. These are things that we should talk
a hot
about.
topic.
I would love to talk about this.
And I would love to ask him
Some
more.
arguments.
I'd like to have him.
And I would love to ask him why he thinks that sex
As
education is
president,
not
when below the
important.
belt on this.
What I even want is that they need to bring, the education needs to go back to the local government. I mean, the federal government, especially basic education. I mean, these are conversations we need to have, but not today. Let's go on
I
the
think
break.
he blames them as well.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to continue with Daily Sun. So there was a story you had. Go ahead, please.
This is the presidential candidate for PDP, that's Atiku Abubakar, in an interview with Voice of America Hausa, and he was talking about the crisis within his party. And he says that as for him, they have moved on, that the crisis concerning the demand by 5 governors being led by Wike for the resignation of AU is impossible right now because they're so close to election. It will make no sense to have a leadership change at this point. So for him, he's moved on, even on the back of the insistence that these governors have said that they are not going to be supporting him. But he also reiterated his commitment to fighting, the fight against insecurity that we have. He says also his administration will work closely with judiciary to make sure that, we get speedy injunctions, and also he's going to impose the death penalties for all those who are found to be wanting in terrorism and terrorist acts.
Okay, so Pa Ayo Adebanjo is still speaking, and I'm all over that story. He was in Lagos yesterday speaking at the public presentation of a book titled Challenges of Good Governance and Leadership in Nigeria, the Peter Obi Factor. And he's insisting that Peter Obi must be president. According to him, he's saying the youth must brace up for the struggle to make sure that Peter Obi is made president, because he's not really impressed with all this they are singing and dancing that they're doing. That getting Peter Obi becoming president is not a tea party. It's going to take a lot of you coming out actually on that day to vote. I'm paraphrasing. He was saying that for him to become president, that they are fighting a battle where the oppressors will do everything to stay in power. So he's telling the Nigerian youth not just to focus on the softer side of this issue, but should come out on that day to actually vote and not collect money from anybody, so that we don't continue to have the same cycle that we're having in politics.
All right, so I want to take the major headline, which is about the INEC, newly sworn in INEC officials. So we're 113 days to the elections, and 19 recs have been sworn in Abuja yesterday, and the INEC chairman read the riot act. Chairman Muhammadu Yakubu said that no INEC official should have any meeting with any governor within office hours or after office hours, except it is in the line of their activities with the right person, that their job is, their allegiance should be to Nigerians and providing free and fair elections, and not to their personal ambitions. So he also mentioned that there are the assignments of these 19 residents electoral commissioners is to understand the law as it pertains to them, familiarize themselves with their staff, and ensure everybody in the team knows what they're supposed to do and they follow through. That if meetings will take place with government officials, it should take place within the office hours with the right person within their team, not them. And because they need to be seen to be doing the right things. I think that this is extremely important. 2023 is too crucial for us to play around.
To say it. There's nothing wrong in getting another 19 DSS officials monitoring this 19. It's easy now. We watch movies every day. Just get 19 DSS. We follow you everywhere.
That means that we don't trust that they will obey.
It is a suggestion. What is 19 DSS officials? Moving on quickly to the Vanguard. Afenifere Fast Priority Recant says Adebanjo's acting leader. Insecurity policy somersault. Others threaten food security, says experts. With me as president, you will get what is due to you, says Tinubu to Kogites. Osun election petition tribunal accepts Beaver's reports alleging overvoting. Drug barons killing NDLA operatives. Marwa raises alarm. 2023 presidency opposition on same ticket fate stance, says PFN. Alleged incessant premature deaths. Ondo monarch family members escape death as youths protest. Strike, ASU raises eyebrow over selected payment of medical lecturers' salaries. And Bayelsa not among 10 most flooded hit states, says federal government. Okay.
Let me take this story in Ondo State, Akure. So the traditional ruler of Ikun Akoko area of Ondo State, Onikun of Ikun, Oba Olokunbola Adedoyin and his family escaped death when angry youths in the community attacked their home. The youth had gone a rampage saying that many of their promising sons and daughters have been, lost, that they died prematurely, and the blame is on their traditional ruler, that because since he ascended the seat 19 years ago, he came in as a born-again Christian and refused to perform some of the rites that he's meant to have performed as their traditional ruler, and so that's the cause of the death that they have been experiencing since he has been since he's been the traditional ruler. And so they burned some, I think they said generators in his home. Luckily, he was told ahead of time by some loyalists. That was how he was able to escape with his family. And also, he has a fuel station, and they burnt it down. He said that he's always prayed for his community, and he has brought a lot of development to that community. And, but the police have gone ahead to arrest some suspects, and it's really interesting.
This is a hot topic,
fantastic
religion
yes.
and
culture.
No, they did not kill the Oba.
No, it's a way to dethrone the king.
Yeah, when you run away
I
without
hope it's
your
not
staff.
that. So ASU and the Minister for Labour at it again. the Minister for Labour, paid salaries to medical lecturers in the Usman Dafodio University in Sokoto. And his claim on a live TV show was that they have been working and that they've graduated medical students during the strike. ASU insists that even their VC did not confirm that fact, that all of them were on strike together. It's impossible and couldn't have happened, and that he's doing selective salary payment. You know that this half salary, full salary arrangement, and they're back and forth. But the Minister of Labour then went ahead and paid certain select. So they say that he's doing preferential treatment to his kind, his own people in his profession. And they're already calling on the president to curb his excesses. Even the ASU breakout group says their own members have not been paid. So they're just looking at
It should just
the drama is enough.
Yes.
And Minister of Labour said, why is the man so
And where
dramatic?
is he, sir? In this whole matter?
It is well.
Please,
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 let me
I'll
take
take
the
the dramatic.
humanitarian.
Pay one
Sorry,
person,
go ahead.
pay
Yes,
all
the humanitarian
everybody now.
story about Bayelsa not being among the top 10 most flooded parts of Nigeria was in response by the minister the minister in charge of humanitarian resources to the PANDEF head, Edwin Clark. So Hajia Sadiya Farouk yesterday said that she was responding to what the elder statesman, I don't know, Edwin Clark said.
Edwin Clark.
So Pa Edwin Clark, yeah, I was looking for how to refer to him. Pa Edwin Clark mentioned that the humanitarian minister is not humane, that she was doing a good job of sharing food stuff during COVID-19 to people locked at home. But most of Bayelsa is covered with water, and she hasn't showed up in Bayelsa State. So she replied that in the conversation that was a very, very wrong statement. Bayelsa is not the most affected area. Jigawa actually is the most affected state in terms of flooding. Bayelsa is not even among the top 10 in terms of states affected by flooding, and that she's doing the best she can with the resources that she has. She says that
Where
they
did she
said
find that data
USAID.
from?
They said, I'm just quoting the newspaper. She said USAID had donated $1 million to to Nigeria, to the states. She has not gotten the funds. She explained that according to the NIMET report, they're trying to evacuate people from the areas where they've had issues, and they're doing it batch by batch. She spoke concerning the farmers. The farmers that have had issues should wait. They would get compensation, but there has to be a proper investigation.
We need to always work with the facts, the real data. Sometimes we just make general
It's
statements.
even more embarrassing when you're an office holder.
Yes.
And you just make make statements without exactly stating data that's true.
But I'm happy that she's able to give us data on exactly what she has and what she's able to do. Let me just take a final story. The presidential candidate of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has assured the people of Kogi that he will ensure the state gets all its due to them. He was saying this in a speech that was delivered by Governor Yahya Bello of Kogi State. He donated about 100 million naira for the victims of flood and says that he's assuring the people that they would occupy the right place in his administration and ensure that all is done with the state. So at least we have that from the candidate. All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to another segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. According to research, in the last 5 years, SMEs in Nigeria have contributed 48% to national gross domestic product, that's the GDP, employing over 60 million Nigerians, which shows the importance played by the retail economy in the country. Joining us now on the studio is a member of the Tinubu Shetima team, Asuko Ekpeyong. He will be speaking on the plan to further grow the sector, address the challenges and limitations in that sector. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good
You
morning.
can join the conversation on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. We're pleased to have you in the studio. And I was opportune to be at the event on Tuesday where your candidate and his team were discussing the various angles of our economy and what we're going to do. And I observed that one of the MDs there talked about this issue of the fluctuating of the forex. They were very worried, the fact that we're having issues concerning that fluctuation. And SMEs can't grow when they're constantly having to deal with that. What does your administration plan to do concerning that crucial issue of forex fluctuations?
Thank you very much. That's a very great question. And I think for us to really deal with that, we need to take stock as to where we are and how we got here. I mean, globally, over the last 24 months, the world has experienced very serious shocks, global shocks. We had the coronavirus pandemic, first pandemic of this magnitude in over a century. We also have a war in Europe, which serves as a bridge for trade and international business, is currently at war in terms of the war between Russia and Ukraine. These shocks have greatly affected the global economy. And this has affected the Nigerian economy and, of course, our currency. But it's important to also note, and if you come home locally, the fluctuation in the currency or the fall of the naira, the weakening of the naira, I think is it's not far-fetched. When you look at it, it's a negative balance of trade. Nigeria imports almost everything. And what it exports, there's little processing that is done to it. I mean, one of our greatest exports is crude, but then we turn around and import the refined products. A way to strengthen the naira is for import substitution. A Tinubu-Shettima administration will aggressively grow the small and medium enterprise to ensure that daily household goods that are consumed can be produced locally in Nigeria. It will do this by ramping up gas to power for production and manufacturing in the local industry, catapulting industrialization. Also, another issue with the currency run is also that of speculation, a run on the currency, which is usually done by a lack of investors' confidence in the markets. The Tinubu-Shettima administration will ensure that it signals the global economy and the global investors to take a position that is long-term for the naira, strengthening the naira. To bring that, home, a Tinubu-Shettima administration within a year will look to unify the FX markets, creating a transparent foreign exchange market that is accessible by all, and it will, over a period of time, ensure it can depreciate the foreign exchange band by strategic interventions in the market.
Okay. Yeah. So SMEs is something that we discuss, for a lot here on this table, and we've called many experts, on it. And one of the things that, we discuss often is taxation. We talk about trying to make sure that we widen our tax net. And then there's this huge informal sector, largely SMEs. And where the government says, oh, we don't get enough tax from them, they can say to you, locally, we're paying taxes to different, local governments, different fines here and there. What do you think this administration would do? I mean, what do you have to tell us about the plans this administration has for mopping up, streamlining the tax collection and also, you streamline the tax collection from the SMEs and widen the tax net for taxation at the federal level?
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are here in the home of, I would call it efficient taxation. That's Lagos State. Almost all subnational governments come home to Lagos for peer learning when it comes to tax administration. And that is because when Asiwaju Tinubu was governor of Lagos State, he improved the tax collection, creating efficiencies in collection without necessarily spreading or increasing the tax per person. What they focused on was increasing efficiencies in collection, ensuring that the deployment of technology and innovation for collection, ensuring that those who should pay tax and the right tax, but not overburdening single entities with overtaxation. That is what a Tinubu-led administration will be looking to do nationwide. Expand the tax net, but reduce the tax burden on specific individuals, thereby increasing revenue to the coffers of the treasury.
Let's talk.
I want to still stay with SMEs. No country is going to grow. Nigeria currently SMEs contribute 84% of employment.
Yes, that is correct.
And about 48% of the GDP.
Absolutely.
But we have a current administration that hasn't really that uses words to support their the lip service in support of SMEs. And we heard these promises. So, you know, we're in that space where we hear promises and we're wondering, like, is it workable? What you're doing for SMEs to increase profitability for them so that they will continue to increase their employment
Scale
rates?
up, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What, in practical terms, how can you do it?
Okay.
Because you just said some things now, and I'm wondering, with the accounts that we're saying, you know, the government account that is already in deficit, how would the new administration suddenly be able to make these things happen?
Okay, so I think your question is in two parts, but let me deal with the first part, which has to do with how do we strengthen the SMEs to scale. I think the primary challenge of the small and medium enterprise is access to adequately priced capital. Without money, you can't even start up. Without capital, you can't grow, you can't scale. And what a Tinubu-led administration will immediately seek to do would be to partner with the financial institutions in the country, the relevant regulatory agencies, to ensure that adequately priced capital is readily available for deserving SMEs. Everything is about the process. Life or business is about process, including regulation and ensuring that who gets what when is very important. A Tinubu-led administration will ensure that that capital is available for deserving SMEs to start up. Beyond that, you also have a lot of deficits in the area of infrastructure. Like I said on Tuesday, a Tinubu-led administration will ensure that it strengthens the regulatory framework for PPP. It would also seek alternative financing models to ensure it can attract the right investment to bridge the infrastructure gap. The infrastructure gap is very important for SMEs because without transportation infrastructure such as road networks, railways, the ports, you can't get your goods and services from point A to point B. Sure. So we need to close that gap. Without power and gas power, you can't produce or you cannot industrialize a nation. So a Tinubu-led administration will be looking to bridge the gap in terms of infrastructure in power and infrastructure in transportation.
Okay, so
And sorry, please, and that will help SMEs generate an even bigger profit margin, enable them to continue to scale, enable them to employ more people, produce more, and even export. That will grow the economy.
So certain costs continue to impede them, SMEs from scaling. If you look at the formula of subsidizing petroleum products here, as against what is done in Kenya, for instance, you see that we flipped it the wrong side. So in Kenya, for instance, what the majority of people consume, which is kerosene and diesel, are subsidized, and petrol is left deregulated. What is the other way around here? What exactly would you do? Because these costs are part of production, and any SME that will grow would continue to bear this cost. So what exactly would this administration do that you're talking about now? What would they do when it comes to subsidy? Would they continue this model? Do they have total removal? Do they think of, are they considering subsidizing this particular, important commodities?
I'll give you the shortest answer you will hear today. A Tinubu-led administration will remove the subsidization of oil, petroleum products. Completely.
All products.
Yes, it would.
So how
For
would
petroleum products.
Have you considered
because
how that would affect?
actually subsidizes the well-off. I'm sure most of us on this table, and Madam, you were there on Tuesday, Tinubu gave a very perfect example. He says he has maybe 6 cars. The subsidy affects him more in terms of the benefits as opposed to the average Joe on the streets who actually are supposed to be subsidized. So a petroleum subsidy doesn't really, the numbers are there, the data is there, it doesn't really leave the least well-off people better off. And so it's important that it's removed. There is no ifs or buts about that. The administration is dedicated to the
But I want particular consideration on SMEs. We talked about how they're contributing 48%. We can get it to 90, we can get it to 80 if we do something deliberate about it. What exactly would you
that
do?
is why I spoke about infrastructure. So we're looking to move to gas-powered electricity, ramping up electricity transmission. The problem with the power sector, there's an installed generating capacity of about 13,000 megawatts, but the transmission capabilities is 5,000 megawatts. Tinubu Shetima administration will focus on investing aggressively in transmission capabilities to evacuate that excess 8,000 megawatts that is not transmitted. And with cost-reflective tariffs, gas-powered generation can be possible. And that will drive down the production cost for SMEs. When you also invest in infrastructure, you reduce the overheads of moving goods and services from point A to point B. So that is the way we can tackle and strengthen the SME sector to grow.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing with Asuku Ekpeyong from the Tinubu Shetimura campaign team. My question is more about getting people to do the right thing. It's one thing to have the nice policy and have the right intentions, like government. We've seen during Jonathan's period where he created UWIN, and UWIN was able to give young entrepreneurs money to start up. They found that they'll collect the money, but they didn't go to do. They used it for personal means. Some they used the money to travel, to jackpot, to buy stuff for them personal. They didn't use it. And then we saw in the Buhari administration, there is the Anchors Borrowers, where they gave farmers money to expand their businesses, hoping that they'll buy from them and give it to Nigerian contractors. Many of those farmers didn't pay back. So the policy, the intention was great, but we didn't get the effect of these great policies because the people, we the people, did not do the right thing. So how does your administration hope with these new policies that sound great, get people to actually oil the system by doing what they must do, playing their own part in this?
Okay. That's a tricky question because you're talking about humanity, right? Yeah. But if I was to be academic in my answer and with my own knowledge, there's always moral hazard in everything. In finance and in lending, moral hazard is that you give a man a loan, he takes it and goes to play kalu-kalu, go and put it on a bet because the outcomes are extreme, and if he wins, if it's not collateralized, he runs away. You have to have what I would like to term incentive-compatible contracts. That is, you have to tie doing the right thing to be in that person's best interest.
Okay.
And that's what you do in lending. You ensure that, look, if you don't pay this, right, you don't have access to future loans. You are almost excommunicated, excluded from future loans. And there's also some penalties and things that you would have to pay. So, for instance, if you're given a grant for innovation, for an SME to start up, you have to tie it in a way. First of all, the screening process is very important. The selection process, you have to identify, you have to put, like I said earlier, process. You have to put processes in place to ensure that you pick the right and deserving people. But beyond that, you have to put a structure in place that ensures that that person is incentivized to channel those funds towards the purpose that it was given. And those can be architectures can be created to safeguard those.
Yeah, so still on policies, Mariah took it on the people side, but we have to look at it on government side. We've had many policies that would say sometimes inconsistent. Today you have this policy that is supporting a particular business, SMEs especially, mop up monies, from wherever they can put into a certain business. In a couple of years, policies change, and these are, this is one of the things that affect SMEs, and they do not have trust in a system on administration. What are the plans that this administration, the Tinubu Shetima administration, is going to do concerning policies to gain trust of the SMEs in putting their monies into the system and doing business in the system? Thank
you very much. On Tuesday, I think Asiwaju Tinubu started the conversation by saying, this is a dialogue. It's a town hall because we want to hear from you so that we can get better. We want you to hear from us so that you know our plans. He stated something beyond that. He said that this would be a continuous process. dialogue is very important between the people and the government. It's important for you to know where the shoe pinches and for you to create policies that resolve those issues, because nobody knows better than the wearer of the shoe. So an important mechanism for developing policies to resolve issues is continuous dialogue, not one-off, not just before an election, but a continuous process. And if you look at the calendar of activities for the campaign team, you see that there are a lot of town halls dotted across all geographical zones of the country, and that is to get a feel, get a pulse, and I believe it's something that is going to be a continuous process. And whenever I speak about Asiwaju Tinubu, I like to come back to Lagos and see what was done in Lagos, what is the Lagos state government style, and you see that the Lagos state government has a style of continuous dialogue and town halls, not just before elections, but during the course of the administration.
Right.
Okay, so I love that, you keep bringing the examples back to Lagos, but when we see Nigeria, Nigeria is much more than Lagos. Let's
Absolutely.
take example of
Absolutely.
the diversification into agriculture by the Buhari.
Sorry, my reason for doing that is track record.
No, I totally
that's
understand.
That's where the leader has served.
I
as
completely
governor.
understand. So this question is not to attack that. It's just to, to see in broader perspective what this kind of policies or what problems they can have nationally. So, for instance, the diversion into agriculture by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is laudable if you look at what he's been able to achieve across board. But the setbacks every time is security. So for every 10 steps taken, 10 steps backwards when it comes to security. For instance, rice farming and all of that, they had results. But then insecurity now flood. What exactly would you say that the Tinubu-Shettima administration would do if they get in power nationally for farmers, for instance? And how would they take care of these issues that, drove Buhari's administration backwards?
Thank you very much. I think one of the ways to further strengthen our farmers would be the introduction of regional commodity exchanges. They can serve as silos. They can concurrently run a warehouse receipting system. This will give farmers in rural areas and regional areas better value for money in terms of their commodities, in terms of getting their commodities from the farm to the markets. Beyond that, when you talk about the farmers and the insecurity that, we need to get the farmers back to the farm, and that is by providing better security. And I said this yesterday on the show. I said security is three things, and the administration has articulated it and is resolved to provide those things. And that is people, ensuring that under people, recruiting people into the service, into the security services. The second issue is on equipment. And on that, the administration is resolved to provide the best equipment, from tactical gear to aerial surveillance, to ground surveillance, to monitor, track insurgents and the agents of insecurity. But beyond that, skills acquisition for our military personnel to be able to engage and resolve issues of insecurity.
Okay. So I wanted to go into, this is a women's show, and it would just not...
Very outnumbered.
Yes. It would just not be right for us to talk about the gender aspect of this at the campaign. What is the plan concerning, what's the gender plan for the campaign going on?
I think to answer that, I'm not just going to give you some policy statement. I may come back to that, but I'd like to just cast your mind back to Tuesday during the town hall. Apart from...
4 women, I counted.
Yeah, but apart from the two candidates on the table, on the Q&A panel, the presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate, there were 9 other people, 4 ladies, 5 guys. As a matter of fact, you can add a 0.5 to the ladies because they were more eloquent and more graceful than all 5 of us combined. So when you look at that, that's half, that's 50% representation. But I can assure you from the policy and from, the track record, Asiwaju Tinubu Shettima-led administration will ensure a minimum of 35%. But you can see they are beating that already, 50%. And I don't think there's any other candidate that is anywhere near that ballpark figure.
Okay, we have to wrap up with you. But there are people out there they're trying to understand your candidate. You know, many of them hear about his track record in Lagos and what people have said, good and the bad. You worked with him, or you're working with him. Could you, in your own personal view, tell us about him, about the vice president, your own personal view about their work ethics, the kind of people they are, just to sell your candidate to us?
Okay. Where Nigeria is now, it needs a leader that has a grasp and an understanding. Doesn't claim to understand everything, but a little about everything. Someone who's a hard worker, has a very hard work ethic, is willing to work 16 hours a day. Someone that has superiority of ideas. Someone who can delegate and get things done. Someone who can execute. In the leader, Asiwaju Tinubu, we have that. The track record speaks for itself. And he spots talent. He can identify talents and identify people with the intellect, identify people with the drive, the energy to get things done. And that is what Nigeria needs. It needs sincerity of purpose, superiority of ideas, and the energy to implement them.
Thank you very much. We wish
Thank
you
you.
the best and good luck.
Thank you.
That's
very
all we take on this segment. When we come back, move on to the next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So join us on the show now is the Lagos State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mrs. Uzamat Akimbile Yusuf. She's going to be talking about the festival, the Eco NAFest, coming up next week. Eco NAFest 2022, Culture and Peaceful Coexistence. That's the team. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here again this morning.
So the theme of this NAFest coming up next week is culture and peaceful coexistence. How did you come about this theme for the festival next?
Well, to the glory of God, I think the theme is the best thing that can ever happen to Nigeria at this particular period we're in. And let me give it back to the coordinator and the chairman of the National Council for Arts and Culture, Otunba Segun Rushewe, who are the coordinator of this event. Lagos State is just to prepare got the hosting right after Ekiti last year, November. And when we're looking at the nation and what we are facing, the challenges, the stress, the issues in the country, and we believe in Nigeria. And we believe we can get it right. And if we are ready to cooperate, reunite, and talk to ourselves using our culture. Because then in 1967, after the war in 1970, and Nigeria is ready to come back again, they had two major apparatus that they are looking up to. They looked at the sports and they look at our culture. Because we are a diversified nation where we have different people with their different culture, their ethnics, the tribes, and all that. And we believe in our culture. Culture is who we are. And with our culture, we believe we can, as Nigeria, come back together and ready to live peacefully. And that is why we come up with this team. Culture can assist us to drive our peaceful coexistence as a nation.
So the NAFest is titled Eco NAFest.
Yeah.
Clarity, please. Is it a national event that Lagos is hosting, or
Exactly.
is it a Lagos event?
No, it is a national event
Yes.
that will be hosting all the 36 states and FCT in Lagos State.
So they have it everywhere, in different times?
No, yes, we have it everywhere, different times. So last one was in Ekiti.
Okay.
Before then, River has hosted, Abia has hosted, Plateau has hosted.
So we are the
So
host
this
team.
is the second time Lagos will be hosting it since it has started. This is the 35th edition.
Wow, that's
Yes.
well done.
Yeah.
That's a legacy already.
Exactly.
But for me, I would like to know, why do you think events like this would really help to foster understanding among different ethnicities and culture?
Okay, thank you. That's a very fantastic question. Like event like this, where everybody, at least once in a year, come together and see the value that each tribe, each culture bring to the table. And we'll be able to value and appreciate ourselves. Like many people have never been to Lagos among the people that will be coming in. So coming to Lagos, seeing the beauty about Lagos, see our culture, see our heritage, be like, oh, I don't want to be a foreigner in this city. I'd rather be a Nigerian so I can continue to be part of the progress of Lagos.
So I want to ask about the economical benefits. So for Lagos to have done it once and then they are doing it again, obviously means that there are economic benefits. What are the economic benefits you foresee, and how can Lagosians take advantage of the fact that we'll be
people
having...
buying stands and coming to
that can
sales
Lagos
market.
take people that will be coming
You imagine when you're having a 7,000 guests at a time. You imagine the economic benefits around that. People will come in, they will buy stuff, they will eat, they will exchange money, they will buy gifts for their loved one when they are going. There's certain things that is peculiar to Lagos. Like if you have your cat, people want to go. So they see that, oh, I've been to Lagos. They keep it somewhere very, very secretive in their home. That, oh, when I went to Lagos, this is what I got. So I just want Lagosians to be ready, because I'm sure they are coming in. Even this time around, the contingent that will be participating, the number is so alarming. Because in the past, we might not have more than 100, 120, but now states are bringing in 200, 400. Wow. I was like, what is it? Why are we getting to this number? But I think we are much more ready.
So tell us about next week. Is it like 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, and where is it going to be at exactly?
Okay, the event is starting on the 7th, which is Monday, and the closing ceremony will be on the 13th. So we are having it 7 days back to back.
Wow. Okay.
Different activities at different time. Okay. So there are going to be competitions within the states to showcase your culture, how rich your culture is, and we are going to be allowing our people, especially our artists, to be going back with fantastic prizes. The visual artists, the scale, we are going to be having training at the venue. We are having the venue is going to be the festival village itself is at the National Stadium. And the place is well prepared. We've renovated, we've done everything. Courtesy Mr. Governor, Mr. Bajidele. Yes, we've changed the face of what we used to see in the past. So we are ready as a state.
What time is it start in the morning? Is it or in the afternoon?
Every day is 10 a.m. till...
Security in car. Because Nigerians are always scared these days. Anywhere there's crowd. How far with security?
You know, Lagos is one of the most secure cities. We became the 56th most secure city in the world. And that gave me that confidence that. And at the beginning of this, we already have the security team on our LOC, Local Organizing Committee. And they've checked. We are ready with everything.
How about traffic, man? You know, we've not done events safe. We have traffic. Now we're bringing, some states are bringing 400 people, 200
Kaduna 601.
See, how will we cope with traffic? Those that want to go to Island should just cancel Island from the activity.
Is off because of their former construction.
Let me give you this. We already have the agency that we're going to be on ground fully. And much men, they are already on ground, but we're going to deploy many of them to all the area that will be having our events. So Lagosians should be rest assured that they are going to have good time with our guests, because state is well prepared for it.
Fantastic. When people hear we're having this kind of business, they're thinking, because I can hear this economic matter saying that business, I want to sell amala, I want to sell this. Do they have to reach out to the Commissioner for Tourism to know how to get a store? How do they
we already have a vendor committee in the ministry. So it's vendor committee that is driving all the people that want to exhibit, want to sell. And we want to make sure that the Lagosians get the best of the benefit with these activities we're planning to have.
So just anyone can just dress up and come and have fun?
Yes. But we want them to register, so we're able to capture the data.
Please, I want you to share the detail, because I know somebody watching now will come and send me a DM and send me WhatsApp that I should give them the contact for exhibition.
Yes.
They should just...
So they should come to the Block 10 in Alausa. That's Block
10 in Alausa. Don't ask us
Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture.
And I'm sure there probably will be a handle, maybe NAFEST or something.
Yes, we already have a handle. The social media, NAFEST 2022 is already on Instagram, running live. So
you can get more details on the online that way. Thank you so much, Ma. I wish you all the best. And a qualijo. But this whole weekend now, more people will be in Lagos. So thank you very much. Okay, let's go on a break now. When we come back, our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is discussing when religion and culture clash. We took a story earlier today about a king in Ondo State that is having issues because of his religion and the cultural requirements of his stool. And I could also reference the Oni of Ife when he came in as king. You know, initially he came across as this Christian new Oni, you know, modern Oni who had one wife, and then now we've seen years down the line he's had to marry multiple wives. We've seen various stories of Oba saying having to make a decision based on culture versus religion. What are your thoughts on this? Do we abscond our religious practices for our modern religion, or can we find a balance? That's the conversation. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view, TVC Connect tweet. I'll let Mariam give us a summary of, because you took the story a little earlier, so tell us exactly what happened.
So I took the story earlier on, and this happened in Ondo State. So a traditional monarch, he's the Ikun Akoko, he's the Onikun of Ikun, and the people in his community are accusing him of the death of their promising sons and daughters since he became their monarch for 19 years. They said he didn't do the traditional rites that someone who is a traditional ruler should have taken, because he came as a born-again Christian. And because of his failure to perform those rites, their sons and daughters that are promising in that community are losing their lives. And his response was, I pray with you people, and there's so many other things I have done for this community. But I guess, as Mariah said, what's the balance? There's a dilemma now between... so I think the question is, which one is the higher power? Is it the Christian God or the traditional God and the traditional rites?
Is it really a question of which one is the higher power?
I think so.
I think it's a question of which belief is stronger in the hearts of the villagers. Because what the villagers believe would bring them peace and prosperity in their community is for the Oba to comply with the traditional and cultural acts. And since the Oba did not comply, their beliefs are so strong that the reason they are suffering misfortune or deaths of people in their community is because the Oba did not fulfill the cultural rights. And so they feel maybe if he goes, another Oba comes in, and the Oba does the traditional things, peace will reign.
So it's not about your personal conviction. It's about the people's
It's not even
conviction.
about facts. It's not even about facts. This is just about a belief system. This is about a people that believe culture is what will help us, and this man is not following culture. So if we are having it's like, I believe that if I hit my left leg, something bad might happen. So if I hit my left leg, something bad happens. Oh, is that belief? So that's what I feel it is. But it's a challenge trying to decide what is the most important thing for Nigerians. Because this Oba has said that based on his track record, he has done a lot for the community in terms of providing them access to help, in terms of being a good leader. So, but if they don't believe that's of value to them, how do you now deal with people? Because you can only give them what they feel they want. You cannot give them what they feel they don't need. Nima.
You're correct, Tokwe, because most of this, as you said, is not based on facts. It's a belief system. That's why it's painful that, when you want to ascend the throne of your ancestors and you plan to deviate from the path of your ancestors, you still have to walk the path they walked to that throne. So first of all, ascend that throne. And when you get on the throne, if changing the ways of your ancestors must happen, you must have to shift minds by educating the people. And so the Oba, yes, might have done a lot of things for his people, but he didn't do anything to change their minds. He did not preach whatever it is, a new religion he practiced. He did not, sell that to the people. So they remained in their ways, and you cannot be at par with the people you're guiding. And I say this because where I'm from, in Edo State, we are largely Muslims. We are predominantly Muslims. Our cultures are now so embedded in Islam that you would never believe it was in the center of Edo State. Over generations, even before the present king, kings continue to change mindsets of people. In the past, when families were doing their burials, you will see all families come out, and the burial is not the party people do in Lagos. It's very expensive as what you do, but it's very core in the what they call traditions. You go into families here, you pay for this, you pay for all of that. But to change the mindset, they first of all brought in the janaza burial that Islam would bring. And so the families mixed it and continue to find a way to do their... That is not party, it's rites. So they continue to do the burial rites underneath. And so some families, as much as their kids, their children, in my own family, for instance, when you get to my place, Akokia family, we continue to sponsor sons and daughters from that family to Islamic schools across the world. When I went to there, I saw my cousin, and he was already an Hafiz. So those were the things my grandfather wanted for his children and grandchildren. So my dad too went to such a school.
Education was your own...
Education was the way. So when you're breaking out as
Islamic education.
Yes, as the person of knowledge. My father was the first my grandfather sent to gain Islamic education. He couldn't finish it up. And so he had broken his family out of that. And before my father passed, he made sure that the burial, those rites are exempted. He continued to say it and made sure on his own. Every family member knew. So it's not possible that I will be made to carry out those rights. Okay, because somebody had done the work.
Let me bring in a new angle to this, because aside from even the culture, there's a part of governance. We bring religion. You want to be swearing the president, they're swearing with the Bible or the Quran. We bring in religion. Even I tell people that most of our governors are refusing to sign the death penalty because many of them are now very compassionate. Maybe they are Christians, they are Muslim. It's not the right. So our prisons are so full because a governor cannot just say kill him. Goes, so he's done. So the point is that how far should religion go? Because in this culture now, in the manner of culture, how far should we where should we stop religion when it comes to culture and even probably governance? Should our conviction as a Muslim or a Christian affect our role in culture or affect our role in governance? Because we see it play out in almost everything we do. Any meeting you want to do, you start with a prayer. But half of them, they're there to share money or to go against. So should we continue to do that, or should we just face the reality of who we are as a people?
I think, when we look at it like traditionally in our local communities, we want to paint Nigeria with a brush of all Muslims or all Christians. But the further you go into smaller communities, they have a long tradition or long practice of their religion. And what most of them will try to do is maybe because of education and, leaving your community, you try to work it, side by side. You find people that when they leave their communities, maybe going to the city, they will be Christians or they'll be Muslims, but when they go back, they still practice, what they are known for, their traditional rites for anything, marriages. Some people will do whatever white wedding you want them to do here, but when they go back to their village, there's some traditional rites. So for me, I think the question would be, if you were to be made a traditional ruler and you are aware of the traditional rights. I know usually with monarchies like this, it's a family tradition. So one person dies, the other person automatically sits on that seat. Why don't you just take yourself out of it? Because this is the expectations of your people. And it's also, if you decide to put yourself in there with your Christianity or your Islam, then be ready to face the backlash.
Yes.
And so we've had, not just in Nigeria, just many other monarchies all across the world. There are some who have tried to change the mindset, as you were talking about, Nima, tried to change the mindset. Some of them succeeded, some were killed, some were chased out, and eventually mindsets were changed. But the question is, why do we want to change the mindset? Why are we choosing Christianity over traditional beliefs? Do we truly believe that these traditional beliefs are devilish? We're talking, for me, this is such a broad topic because we were talking about colonialism, slavery. If Waike was here, she would insist that, we have our own traditional beliefs, and because we have forgotten who we are, where we are from, we are just a scattered people.
So this brings me now, Mariam, to recently, we're talking about the Shaun of Ogbomoso, the one of the few candidates being considered. One is a pastor of the RCCG, and I know him very well. Pastor Gandhi is a proper pastor. Not that they could go come. Now, if Pastor Gandhi indeed becomes the Shawun of Ubumosho,
How will they do the traditional rites?
how would he? I mean, this is the friction we're saying. This is the conflict. Can we merge it? If we're merging it, could it affect the people? Because the people are saying, this is who we are. But so how do we merge it?
So historically, people have evolved over time, consistently. Some died for this evolution to take place. You know, some people will say, I feel so strongly in my spirit that as a Christian, I want to change this community, and it might mean that you die, you know, but you're willing, you believe so much in that, your faith and your belief, that you will sacrifice yourself. Some other Christians will feel like, my faith does not tally with this, I'm not going to do it, I will step out. There's no right or wrong answer on how you go about it. But understand that if you're going to be fighting a belief system, you are going to fight a very tough battle. People would die on that journey of saying, this is what I believed all my life. There are battles you should not fight, personally. I will not impose my belief on anybody. I would feel that I would exemplify my faith in such a way that it would inspire you to come into my faith. I don't believe in a position of faith. I don't believe in a position of beliefs. I don't believe you need to fight people for what they believe in. I believe that you need to be an influencer, a role model. That's the right way. So now this is your pastor. This is your pastor.
This is easy conversation.
So this is your pastor now
Yes.
that is in the line for
Culture.
becoming, culturally in the line to become the Shawun of Ogbomoso. In my own opinion, it's not something that you would even consider. The moment they say, oh, I'm in the line, tell them, I'm a Christian. If you put me in the line, I am going to carry out my ruling as a Christian. If you are not okay with it, back out. The current Olu of Warri went into that position. It was a battle, but he went as a Christian, and it was not anything anybody did not know. The entire process of him becoming
Christians already. That's it. You're missing the point.
The entire process of him becoming the Oba or the Olu of Warri was not that wasn't the usual system.
Wait, now,
the way he became the Olu of Warri was not the system they used to do before. Everybody that had new knowledge of history said that he changed the way it was done. He worshipped God in the Christian way, not in the Ishekiri way. And that was his own system that had been announced to them before. Now, the people of Warri cannot come and say he should not worship God again, because they knew who he was before. So these village boys, the community people in this village, they knew who this man was. He didn't say he was not a Christian. When he was becoming the Oba, all of them probably knew this man was a Christian. Why did they suddenly want, after choosing a Christian, that he would suddenly become a traditional ruler?
There's a saying in Yoruba land, Orisha bi o le gbe mi, shemi bo se ba mi. Now, he brought a faith that they believe is not working for them. Maybe at the time they allowed him, they thought it would work. Now, we've all established here that if they don't believe in that faith, it might not work for them. But they thought, let him come and see if there will be a difference. This time is going to be short, because that difference did not happen. I wanted to establish that most times when we look at our royal fathers, we now see them as ceremonial. In those days, they were administrations with their own policies and their own methods and their own ways. And they came in and things would change. Per Obas, you will see each Oba with their differences. They will say, in the times of Oba Dynasty the first, or by Dynasty the second, I'm talking of my forefathers from my mother's side now, how things were done. Not everything was copied, because you were supposed to come in with your own level of thinking that you want to change and your own faith. For my grandfather, for instance, in the beginning when he lost most of his kids, they were supposed to be abikus. But over time he thought, okay, if I go to this new faith, things would be different. And things started to be different for him. And he thought, every of my child must follow Islam and do the right thing. So it is about how people see things, eventually, not in the longer run of things.
When we come back, we'll take some calls and some tweets. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I have Festus from Oshodi. Good morning, Festus. Are you there? You're live. Go ahead, please.
I I've been trying to get through to you guys for so many years.
Glad to have you.
I'm the first time for your
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. On this particular topic, is an interwoven thing. To me, religion and culture, they are two different things for me. Most times, we Africans, we mix the two together. I'll try to make reference to when they were burying Queen Elizabeth. If you watch at the last point of the whole ceremony, it was taken to a particular church. And that was the end what it was. What happened after that particular time, we don't know. Bring it to Africa. We Africans want to practice Christianity. At the same time, want to maintain our ancestral kind of belief. Me, as a Christian, if I'm going to be a Christian, in my house we have Christians, Muslims, traditional worshippers. In my family, from Catholicism. So if we are all allowed to practice our own religion, based on your own belief, the bottom line of every religion is love.
Right.
Bottom line of every religion is acceptance of the other person.
Okay. Thank you very much, Festus. You know, I was referencing the Oni of Ife recently when he said that he tried to do his own things, but it fell on his face. That there are people here that have lived here for many, many years. He said there are 800 people living in the palace. There are people here at least 100 years old that have passed culture. So he couldn't just go ahead with what he wanted to do. He had to subject himself to the culture or to the practices that are there. So at some point, he had to decide, like, listen, I need to bring in this. I mean, the instruction is bring in more ways. He adhered to it. So we might have the best of intentions as a Muslim or as a Christian coming into a monarch. But where do we draw the line into my conviction and then what I'm supposed to do?
You know, for a long time, a lot of times, one would hear someone take up a traditional stool, who would question, I thought he's Christian, or I thought he's Muslim, why is he going home? But we have this new breed who think that they can work it out, you know, and people would question. In fact, now we don't question it anymore because we think we can work it out. And I do not think that there's a strong divide between religion and culture. It sort of intermingles. Christianity says be monogamous, marry one wife, never divorce, and things like that. And then you come into a traditional stool that expects you to marry so many wives. So it's cultural because, you know, you can't say, I insist on being a monogamy, and then there are some rights that maybe many wives are supposed to play, and they are unable to do it. And so the example of the Oni, if we have people who are supposed to be on the traditional stool and they're supposed to cut, shed blood of an animal before some gods or before a shrine, you cannot insist that because I'm Christian, you know, I would not do those things. And for me, it should be, I will not even participate, I will not even sit on the stool because this does not align with my beliefs. But then if I'm part of this, I have to do it. But we have also seen where people have decided, I will sit on this stool and make the difference that needs to be made. I'll sit on this, I'll call my own. And then if it happens that your reign is successful, people will refer to it and say, okay, he's God, then it's my God, and things like that. So it just happens for this particular monarch. Maybe he's not working. There's so many challenges around the world anyway. So it's just
Albert from Abuja, and I'll come to you. Albert, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you for such a strategic discourse. Honestly, this is traditional and exactly means to what the cleansing of our society, more like an orientation. The two topics, yes, the two subjects, they are religion and culture, are two distinct things. But simply put, culture says what? The life of a people defines the life of people. Religion is what? A practice of belief, which is what? Personal conviction. So, if this is so paramount to him, the religion, not to conflict in the first place, he should not have taken up to that seat if he cannot. Otherwise, as long as you're on that seat, it doesn't matter religion. It doesn't matter. I don't know what religion he is. They say a Christian, of course. Not to start to talk about the men or how many women they marry, whichever way. Your culture is a respect to the way of life of the people that living there. It doesn't stop you from going personally in your home, in your heart, cultivating your personal conviction.
Thank you, Albert. I think Albert was able to answer the question for us. Was he saying religion is personal? So me, I worship my God, but culture is different. It's the practice of the people. So if I'm a king and I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I do my prayers to my own God. But if I have to rule over the community, this is what is expected. So the practice of you have to kill this animal, you have to
let's leave killing off, and let me add something.
The practice I have to do to pretend over this community.
Okay, so let's even remove killing of animals. Some people may even put that aside. How about being Christian? You know that there's only one God and you're not meant to worship any other God. But then we have cultures that worship the moon. There's a new moon festival. Everybody comes out and you perform rites to accommodate that. How do you now do it as a Christian leader, as a Christian traditional ruler? Or do you now tell your people, I'm not going to join in this? And for them, their belief, their culture, the belief in this is that when we perform the rites, then we'll have a good harvest. And then you don't perform it. And then you don't have a good harvest. And then what do you say? Because your own God stopped you. You know, so for me, it's very tricky.
For you, it's either or.
The direct path is to say, I am not doing, and step out. When you begin to compromise the beliefs and your personal beliefs and faith, when you begin to compromise it because of the stool, then I feel like you are already a compromising person. That if you come into the place and say, I'm a Christian, this is my belief, this is my faith, then I become a king, I'm not going to do it, then suddenly you start doing it, then I don't believe what you're saying anymore, because you have taken your word, you've compromised. When you want to stand on your faith, you must be willing to lose your life on that journey, because that's the journey of being a, what do you call it, patriot or pariah? I'm trying to get the right word they use, where people become a saint because they died on their beliefs. They died because this is what I believe in, and I don't care. Matter. Matter. You die because of what you believe in. So if you've already said this is what I believe in and I take this job, people might not understand why you're doing it. Somebody put on a comment on YouTube right now that how can a prophetess say she wants to become a queen in a palace, and they welcomed her with blood.
Yeah, we asked that question.
She chose to do it. Well, we've seen in the Bible where someone was told to marry a prostitute. A prophet was told to marry someone who is a known prostitute. Whatever instruction God gives you can be to go into a journey that is very, very difficult and
God tells me that I can be a king, that I should go. God has given me instructions that I can go and do the practices.
Yes.
That I still trust. No, it's my conversation. You didn't hear God when he was telling me.
So let's not judge anybody, right?
Let's not judge. Somebody God has approved the king
that you should cut the neck off.
Yes, go and do it, because I am your supreme being, and I've given you the authority to go and do it, because all of them are still subject to me. Let me take this call. I'll come to you, Nima. I'll come to you. I have a call. I'll come to you, Nima. I think it's Ade from London. Good morning. Are you there? You're alive. Go ahead, please.
Yes. What about the friend of the house, Oba Iwo? They refused to have them.
Oba Iwo,
oh, yeah.
The king of the world. So that's an example. So I think it's very on the capacity or capability of the other. If you can capture it, like Oluwo is doing now. So if you go back now to any point, in another part of Nigeria, Kenya, you speak to their religion, not like that. But in some places in the southwest, it is possible, like for me, in fact, to cooperate. Even your own shop. If you pastor, if you come to our school, we have to listen, we have to do the culture. The English ground will be in at night, they will come back. We can't do what we do. That is the nature of it. If the staff doesn't fit, don't wear it.
Thank you.
Please let me take this quote. He says, can't trust, Chichi Unscripted on YouTube says, I can't trust a person who wants to serve two masters.
Nima, what are your thoughts? I didn't really hear what our last caller said, but he was talking about the above Igbo or something.
That you have to do the rights to get to the throne. And sometimes we all just think that, these rights are all bloodied and all of that. You have not done any rights. I know the ones
it's home video now. I mean,
no. The few I know is the seclusions. None of us have been into that seclusion with the Oba to see what they are doing. except what they tell us. And most of them remain superstitious.
Let me tell you what we see.
Wait,
you know,
let me tell you, no, it's not
they will
about
bathe them with blood.
yes, they will bath them with
they
blood,
will
there will
use
be
to say they eat
calabashes
the heart
everywhere.
of the Oba.
Yes,
So
and
this
then
one
eat
now
it
must have
and
been
have
teaching you at the heart. So that's what we all do.
Those are the things.
Yeah, so see, these things they still remain in myth. What I know is that certain things are just rites, tradition, periods and all that, training to prepare the king. In my own area, what I see most of the kings, even from Benin, the first sons do not see their father in public because they are kings to be, all of those things, just to put reverence to the stool. Nothing more that we know that we can verify and say, it's that person's child that
Nollywood
they
has
killed.
given us information.
If they are hiding,
Yes,
something
now.
to hide.
Hollywood has given us
Nollywood has
let's
given
look
us.
for the
Nima,
Hollywood
historians.
has given us
If they are
Hold on.
hiding, there's something to hide.
Let's look for the historians who would document
They won't document.
exactly.
They won't tell us.
No, they kill history now. If not, by now, all of us would know.
No, but
our
no,
generation, by the time we're coming, they have not
That's
kissed
not
you
the
out of our
African
books.
style. We will
So
never know.
they don't want you to know. So they want to keep it, shroud it in secrecy. And that's keeping it in secrecy is for you so that you always think, no, it's a dark thing. I remember the present king in my place when he wanted to ascend. Some people insisted, no, he cannot bring Islam again. And his own side, which is my mom's side, have always brought Islam to the throne from their very, very first ancestors who thought these ways of killing, I don't want it, I want it to end on me. And he did, he paid the price. And so his children, and the person who took from him was from his cousin, and his own kids said, no, we will maintain tradition. And then one of them broke out and became Christian. And, the clash just kept on of the faith in that place. But I think that I will say thank you to my own ancestors for fighting their fight. Because now, I will tell you for free that, I am by default Muslim and as well as all my ancestors.
But if somebody in your family
if not
becomes a
history,
Christian, who is also rightful person to the throne, how the clash, that's how the problem. How do we separate this religion from culture?
Can
Because somebody
we
in your
talk
family
about, can we talk
you have
about
to
a
do
monarchy
work
that
as
is not too shrouded in secrecy? The British one that we see all the time.
But they said it now. Somebody called in and said that the British monarchy, they did not show us the dead body or how she was buried.
Anyway, what I'm going to say is
What
I'm
of
talking
their
about
race
some of the
is not-
processes that
Yes.
are just in open. We have heard that the line of the Queen or King Charles is that because one king abdicated or someone that was supposed to take the throne abdicated because at that time you
deal.
could not be a king if you decide to be with a divorced person and the person he was in love with was divorced. So that is something he decided to do. I love her so much. I'm willing to step out from culture or from tradition. But now we have seen that over the years, the present king is married, he's divorced, and married to a divorcee. And that's because things have happened in between that time to bring about the change. So I guess for a lot of this new, because we're seeing a lot of them, many people have gone out of their local communities. They have gone to school. They are exposed. They have picked this religion, whether we like it or not. Nigerians are mostly
Muslim or
Christian or Muslim. And then they come back and they're saying, I respect this, but I'm coming with my new beliefs. We have people, we had traditional schools where they believed in killing twins. Today, we don't do that because someone brought in change. But I feel that when you decide to be the change maker, know that it will come with its repercussions. Some people will accept it and some people will push you out. And concerning this Ondo monarch, it may not necessarily be about Christianity if you look at it. It could be anything. He could have been a traditional ruler who things are happening, bad things are still happening in his community and he will still be chased out.
We have to wrap up. Let's take a few comments on social media.
Yeah, let me quickly take this one. Jojo said, culture and religion are interrelated. We have to respect each other's beliefs. Somebody, Eddie A says, there is a difference between removing bad culture and removing traditional worshipping.
Called from Kiflex says, anything you believe works for you, also give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Festus Akimboyewa says, whoever wants to be an Oba or traditional ruler needs to take the culture of his or her people and place into account. Otherwise, don't go there.
Shegun Oyeleke says, integrity. If you believe so much in what you believe in, you will opt out. It is not by force. And Nam says, I'm tired of people lying on Nigeria, saying blah, blah, blah. We don't feel... Okay, I don't think it's not related to this topic. It's not related to this topic. Correction, Christianity came from the Middle East, Jerusalem to be precise. I think that at the end of the day, people's belief is their belief. You cannot fight it. It's not whether it is fact or not fact.
It's the colonialists
in this community
who brought it here. So
we have to
read
wrap
your
up.
facts well.
This is obviously a conversation that can't end.
cannot
We have to
end.
wait.
Because we
So
need to
there are
talk about the colonial
there are
slavery
different
part.
angles.
colonial
There's a cultural angle, there's a people angle, there's the importation of the religion angle, what was our forefathers doing before they came. There's so many parts of this conversation that we might never really get to today. But the point really is, before you become a traditional monarch, it's important that you weigh all the options. Your personal belief as a religion, or the cultural beliefs of the people you're about to superintend over. I think that's the conversation. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Bye for now.